Hello right bags, it's Jade, welcome to an Access Show. Today taking a look at all the survival news that's been happening this week. Loads of stuff going on. We've got aliens, cowboys, zombies, monsters, dwarves, lots of automation, robots, lots and lots of good stuff. Games like Deep Rock Galactic, This Land Is My Land, news about dead matter, space engineers, Miscreated, Ancestors, the Raft, Outward, Volcanoids and a lot more. Don't forget to make sure you like and subscribe and come with me as I talk about everything to do with survival and indie games this week. Let's go, it's the Access Show. And while I'm here as well, don't forget I'm going to be live streaming for 18 hours on the 30th November trying to raise a hell of a lot of money for Save the Children. If you want to see me paint myself like Pickle Rick or maybe even a raptor from Ark, go and donate right now. If we hit a certain threshold, I'm going to be doing live painting on stream as well as playing lots of games that you guys want and doing challenges and hopefully getting some of my YouTuber buddies involved. We're starting at 8 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday the 30th, so make sure you're there and go and check out the Just Giving page. Links to this will be in the description box and the comment section. So Deep Rock Galactic is probably one of my most favourite developers in the last 2 years. They've really pushed out content every single month or so, and they've really made sure that early access is exactly what it should be. Lots of content coming, lots of changes, lots of feedback, and making their game better and better. If you've not tried it yet, absolutely try and get hold of a copy on Xbox or PC. Hopefully by the time it comes out of early access it will also release on the PlayStation 4 too. It's got space dwarves, it's got loads of horrible arachnid style creatures, and I'm definitely going to be giving this a go in the next couple of weeks. I really want to get back into Deep Rock Galactic because it's had so much added to it since I last played it. Endgame does look like it is really finalising some of the last bits of content before hopefully maybe coming out as a full release game. The update is live on PC right now and it doesn't normally come that much further behind on Xbox, so go and give it a try and see if it's available now. Moving on to Miscreated, a PC survival game very much like DayZ and Rust. It launched out of early access earlier on this year, and although it hasn't had millions or thousands even players playing it at a regular basis, it's still maintained a good decent following in the last few months, with good few hundreds of players playing it every single day. And just because they've come out of early access, they're not stopping there. Their November dev block lists a bunch of seasonal stuff they're doing, which you kind of come to expect from a lot of these types of games now. But it's still great work to add this for the community. But this is what's going to be a little bit more exciting. They're adding a brand new desert map. Originally, the whole world of Miscreated was meant to be actually set in the desert, but they changed it after a little bit of feedback. I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of DLC or form of DLC. I can't imagine it's going to be a free update. They've got testers on it at the moment finishing up everything, and you see lots of nice little locations and landmarks for you to discover. Another game progressing nicely is Dead Matter. Now this one's still in very much early pre-alpha, but they've announced plans for a proper roadmap update in 2020. They're supposedly also going into a full testing alpha or closed alpha in the start of next year. But the big news is they won't be launching on Steam straight away. They've decided to launch their own launcher. So you'll be playing and testing a game on their own launcher before it does make its way to Steam. Don't worry, this isn't about to go onto Epic Games Store. It's simply a case of them wanting to get more feedback with not the constraints they feel Steam has. It's still coming to Steam early access, but they really just want to get some people playing and trying it on their own terms first. One thing that's a bit puzzling though is that they are actually still going to be charging people. So I'm guessing if you buy a starter pack or a founders pack, you'll get access to the alpha. That's probably the only sketchy part. People trust in Steam, that's why early access works well when it goes through the programs that Steam offers. Launching on separate launchers makes people worry even if it is using reputable pay things like PayPal. Other exciting news though is that they're looking at working with a publisher at last. They've been pretty independent since they started out their project, raising a bunch of money on Indiegogo. And I'm surprised it's actually taken this long to get someone skirting around. So fingers crossed whoever they deal with will be able to give them the autonomy they need and also give them lots of funding to really kickstart this project, which has been around for a good 2 or 3 years now. And we still haven't seen any real decent actual gameplay in a test situation where players can actually get hold of it. As ever, they have their dev vlogs filled with stuff and many changes have happened since and when, all about combat changes and aiming down sights, how much of it's improved in their eyes and making it more realistic or just better for the game. Dead Matter is going to be big in 2020 if it does launch in this closed section or if it does manage to come out on early access before the end of 2020. I really see this coming along and maybe taking the mantle from some games like DayZ. They've been working on lots of dungeons and underground bunker areas to go and explore with all new features. So it's going to be not just a case of simply shooting people, there is going to be some elements that you're going to have to follow. And of course they've still got plenty of work to do on their cars and vehicles. It is an open world survival zombie game, PvP, PvE. I'm really impressed with Dead Matter. They have taken a while to get going, but it does look more and more likely 2020 is going to be the breakout year for the game. Let me know if you've played Miscreated or you've been following Dead Matter. What do you think about both games? Sticking with the zombie theme, Survive the Nights is a game that's been languishing in development for the last few years. Still in alpha, but they've just kind of relaunched itself. It came out a couple years ago as an open demo that you could try, and then it quickly went unlisted. It got a bunch of feedback, I guess, that wasn't exactly that positive, but it's got a unique idea. Think about 7 Days to Die, but much more decent survival mechanics in it, actually crafting and feeding yourself and hunting and stuff like that. So 2 years, loads of updates behind the scenes, getting the game into a core state. They feel it's now ready to actually sell. So it's available on Steam right now, publicly available. Alpha 1.0 they're calling it. What I liked about this was the frequency or number of traps that you could lay and stuff like that. It did get a bit of a negative reception when it did appear and it was given to key streamers. But I'm hoping that in the last 2 years it looks like the devs have really put a lot of effort and work into it. So I'm going to try and get hold of one and give this a try. I'll let you guys know about Survive the Nights. Now Raft has been pretty solid, maybe not as many updates as a game like Deep Rock Galactic, but it certainly has utilised early access to add a bunch of new content, even if it is more periodic. The big exciting news though is they have now got their first chapter coming on December the 3rd. This is looking likely to be some actual proper story content. The Raft isn't just a game about surviving on a raft in the water. They really want to add some more details and add this story to it. They've been teasing the bear for the longest of times and they've got a bunch of other new mechanics going into the game. Lots of exploration as you would come to expect from a first chapter. It's going to be really cool. I can't wait to dive back into this. This is one of them games that I flit in and out with over the last year, and for sure the mechanic changes they're adding engines and generators are really going to make Raft, I think, excel even quicker. I'll be there December the 3rd to show you guys exactly what's going on with the first chapter. Now don't worry console players, I've not left you behind. I know you want some more news about console, and maybe you've got Outwards sitting on your shelf or in your library and you've not played it for a few months. There's a brand new update that just went live 2 days ago on Xbox and PlayStation that adds permadeath. This was an update that came out on PC, I covered it back then and told you guys it was happening, and it's now finally hit console. There's more end game bosses to go and fight, they've made some changes, big stuff going on, so it's a big content juicy update. I found Outward to be a little bit lackluster, but it's definitely one of the games I think I should probably revisit and give it another shot. Let me know what you think about Outwards, and are you hyped about the death mechanic? Now, the death mechanic I do believe works like this. You can click hardcore mode on, and basically it doesn't mean you'll die every time and lose all your progress. There's just a chance of you dying at some point. So a bit different from usual game mechanics like that with the hardcore mode, but I think it's really to emphasise what happens when you die. It can be just a bit of luck. If you don't know in Outwards, if you get defeated by an enemy, you don't always die. You actually end up in a prison somewhere or outside a village, and they give you a tiny bit of story explaining what happened. It's a pretty unique concept and way of doing things, rather than simply making you checkpoint and start again. They literally make you lose your stuff and start again. This land is my land is something I've been following for a while now. I showed you guys a alternative to Red Dead Redemption if you wanted to be in the playable hands of a Native American. It is a single player game at the moment, an RPG game where you actually take control of a Native American trying to bring back your lands. Along the way you can help or hinder factions, and I do believe you can grow your own areas, your own lands, building up farmsteads and stuff like that. It is a survival game. You're going to be hunting and crafting, and you've got to literally unite all the tribes to take back your lands. It's just gone into Steam Early Access yesterday. It's fairly expensive, I would say, for a game of this type. Only because it's still maybe the first outing, but I guess a big story-led game, you kind of expect it to be in that bracket, rather than just the open world madness of survival games where they're normally $10 to $20. I'll be giving this a shot later on. I have got a review key, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a live stream later on today, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions of actually playing the game, but it's definitely something I'm looking forward to trying out. This Land is My Land, out right now. You guys know I cover a wide variety of survival, open world and indie games, and Volcanoids is something I've been keeping an eye on. It's a game about getting resources using your drill and mining chip. It's something I've shown off a good while ago when it first came out on Steam Early Access, and they've been updating the game constantly, adding a brand new automation one that I showed off in their trailers a few weeks ago. Well, even more exciting news now. They did demonstrate they were working on co-op multiplayer. What I didn't know was that the co-op multiplayer would actually maybe possibly have ways that you can PvP. This is something they've shown off on their Twitter feed. They're just testing it at the moment, so we've got a bit of a way to come. But it looks like Volcanoids may soon have the option to have a world where it is PvP and multiple players can join. Definitely a different take on this sort of survival sim sort of game. You've seen it in games like Satisfactory where it's not PvP, it's all just PvE focus. So I think Volcanoids is doing a good idea here. If they can get the good mesh of mining for resources and coming up on the overland and fighting other players to get resources, it could be a big game. Right now you're only fighting off against automation robots and they're great, but definitely if they get proper multiplayer, this is going to be huge. Everything's testing, they may not go with it fully completely, but it looks like that is the idea to start implementing it more and more. I'm pretty sure you'll still be able to play without multiplayer on though. There's no plans for this just to be some sort of survival multiplayer game. I do think they like the idea of having a single player on it just as much, and that's where they've really focused since they've been out with early access. Expect a revisit from me on Volcanoids in Mixer streams next week. You've only got a few weeks to go as well if you wanted to play Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. It's coming to Xbox and PlayStation on December the 6th. I played it, I was going to really hype this up. I put in lots of videos detailing and previewing games that you could be an animal and a survival game. It turns out Ancestors is good, maybe not great. I'll always give you my opinion, it gets just a bit too repetitive, but it's certainly an experience, and for console players, you're definitely lacking these types of games. So I may revisit it up towards that release, maybe do a general tips guide to keep you guys in the loop of what to expect. But it is hitting Xbox and the PS4 December the 6th. One game that I've always wanted to get into, but I lack the thousands of hours maybe needed to master it, Space Engineers. Now I've kept you guys in the loop what's going on with this coming to console for the longest of times. Over 2.5 years, maybe 3 years I spoke about this coming, and it is actually happening. A good few months ago they showed off that they were actually testing it, they announced it, they showed off pictures of it being available on their in-office screens, but we're actually going to see a proper first look at this very soon. They've just celebrated their 6th anniversary with a brand new update and lots of DLC packs that they sell to help carry on funding the game. But we haven't got long to see actual proper gameplay yourself of what it's going to be running like on Xbox One. Thursday, November the 28th, they're going to be doing a live stream at 7 PM, highlighting, showcasing what it's like on console. I have struggled with Space Engineers on PC, so I'm looking forward to giving it a shot on console, and it will be coming out on the Xbox. No word yet on the PlayStation release. I think it's going to be Xbox Games Preview for a little while, or full game, but definitely exclusive for just a little while. Fingers crossed it does transfer really well, and they do get the controls from the keyboard and mouse nicely situated for a control pad, as the game is quite complicated with how much you can do. But undoubtedly Space Engineers offers something very different, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. And there we go, what an episode, loads of stuff there, PC players, Xbox players, PS4. Let me know what you're most excited about with the games I showed off today. And please go and check out that fundraising page and make sure you spreading the word about my live stream on the 30th of November. Until then, rat bags, I will see you later.